Do I care? Do I fucking care? Do you fucking care?
So over a month ago, I finished my Sonic retrospective review thing that I was doing for well over a year, and it was all well and good and exciting. But before I even finished, I decided I wanted to do some other Sonic-related videos as well, mostly lists. Why? Well, I guess I decided I haven't been verbally assaulted by crazed Sonic fans enough. I don't know, I just really like making lists. So I'm going to do just that, make some lists. While I don't think I'm going to be doing all of the lists I originally planned on doing, there will be at least a couple of them, and this is the first one. For this list, I'm going to be clearing up a bunch of mistakes I made throughout my time reviewing the different Sonic games. If there's one thing anybody making videos on the internet should know, it's that any little insignificant error you make, somebody will inevitably correct you, and I got quite a bit of that. So I'm going to correct myself now and look at 10 mistakes or facts I feel I should clear up. Now, this isn't an opinion-based list. None of my opinions from the reviews have changed. In fact, because of all the comments, I think I actually hate Sonic Heroes more than ever before. In fact, I just stopped reading comments altogether. But anyway, this list is more to clear up any factual or clerical errors I made. So without further delay, let's take a look at how big of a dumbass I am. This is my top 10 Sonic review errors.
Number 10.
Matt, I can't believe you didn't know Sonic Rush's soundtrack was by Hideki Naganuma.
This is a real simple one. In my Sonic Rush review, I mentioned how much I enjoyed the unique soundtrack and how it reminded me a lot of the music from the Jet Set Radio series. Well, it turns out that's for good reason. Hideki Naganuma, the composer for Jet Set Radio, also composed the music for Sonic Rush. Guess that it would explain why I like it so much. The music in both games is incredibly unique, so go give them a listen. Mr. Naganuma deserves it.
Number 9.
I really liked your review of Sonic Generations, but you forgot one minor detail. You forgot to mention the 3DS version, you bum.
Another simple mistake, but boy did you guys refuse to let me forget about it. In my Sonic Generations review, when I listed all the consoles it was released for, I failed to mention the 3DS version, which was released a few weeks later. Now, I knew of the 3D version. I didn't forget it existed. I just didn't mention it because it was released at a later date and is an entirely different game, featuring different stages and different gameplay. But I probably should have at least acknowledged its existence. Would have saved me about 30 comments telling me I forgot it. So, yeah, Sonic Generations exists for the 3DS. Sorry I didn't tell you. Won't happen again.
Number 8.
There are only 10 endings to Shadow the Hedgehog.
This is one that I didn't exactly get wrong, but I think I worded it funny. In my review of Shadow the Hedgehog, I mentioned that there's over 300 story combinations and that Sega expects you to play the game more than 300 times to see them all. Well, a lot of people took this as me saying the game has over 300 endings, which is false. It only has 10 plus the true ending. But what I was trying to get at was with the number of different routes and combinations of stages and story elements you can see in the game, there is over 300 possible combinations leading to those 10 endings. In fact, the game even keeps track of them. So, sorry for the confusion, but you don't actually have to play the game 300 times, only 10 to unlock the true ending. But the option is there, and it is acknowledged if you choose to accept it. Which is insane! Who would want to see every possible nonsensical story path in this game? Ah well. Next!
Number 7.
Oh, come on. What Sonic fan doesn't know it's flames of disaster, not destruction? God.
Oh, Sonic 06, why do you insist on existing? Yes, in my Sonic 06 review, I called the Flames of Disaster the Flames of Destruction. And despite correcting myself in the video, you all got on my case. In fact, I seem to make a lot of pronunciation errors and verbal typos in a lot of my reviews. In my Sonic Adventure 2 review, I called Radical Highway Radical City, which is especially embarrassing because I just got done saying it was my favorite stage, and Radical City actually exists in another Sonic game. In my Sonic Chronicles review, I say that BioWare developed Mass Attack, when in reality I meant Mass Effect. I must have had Kirby on the brain. And in my Sonic Colors review, I call the main character of Assassin's Creed Izio instead of Itzio, which, as I was told, is how it's pronounced. I've never actually played Assassin's Creed or heard the name pronounced before, so I was glad to learn that one, finally. The rest were all just stupid mistakes.
Number 6.
You can move the camera in Sonic Battle.
Another simple mistake. In a Sonic Battle review, I mentioned how annoying it is that the platforms on the stage can obstruct your view of your character. Well, turns out you can move the camera by tapping the L button twice. Since all the stages are four-sided, it just swaps to the next side. While this does get rid of the hindrance temporarily, you can still get stuck behind platforms and constantly have to swap the camera. I still think it was a bad stage design decision, but you can deter the problem more than I let on, so there you go.
Number 5.
The reason Tails doesn't go super in Sonic Heroes is because he needs the Super Emeralds to do that, stupid.
Damn it, Sonic Heroes! Why won't you leave me alone? In my Sonic Heroes review, I complain about how disappointing it is that Tails and Knuckles don't turn super alongside Sonic in the final battle, despite both of them already having super forms. As many people have pointed out, Tails can't go super because he requires the Super Emeralds to turn super, which aren't present in Heroes. For those of you who don't know, the Super Emeralds are 7 new emeralds you collect after you get the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Knuckles. They only exist because Sega backed themselves into a corner by splitting the game into 2 games and having to have 2 different sets of emeralds in the games. In the game, Sonic and Knuckles can turn super after collecting just the Chaos Emerald, and then hyper after collecting all 14 emeralds, while Tails requires all 14 just to go super at all. Now, while according to Sonic lore, this is true, here's why I think it's bull. When's the last time we saw the Super Emeralds? Sonic and Knuckles. At this point, Sega has probably retconned them out of existence. They didn't need to exist to begin with, so why not just get rid of them altogether? Make it so Knuckles and Tails can go super with just the Chaos Emeralds. I mean, they retconned the name Robotnik and retconned the entirety of Sonic 06 at the end of the game. Why not the Super Emeralds? Well, maybe they did, and maybe they retconned Tails and Knuckles super forms along with them. They haven't gone super since then, so how would we know? Regardless, yes, according to the confusing universe that is Sonic the Hedgehog, Tails can't go super at the end of Sonic Heroes. I was wrong to be mad. No, I wasn't.
Number 4.
When are you gonna review Sonic Rivals?
Okay. Throughout the course of me reviewing these games, everyone and their mother seemed to ignore what I was reviewing and instead asked when and if I was going to be reviewing something else. Sonic Rivals, the Sonic Riders sequel, Sonic Shuffle, the Mario and Sonic games, the new racing game, and to put it simply, no, I'm not going to be reviewing any of those. Look, I'm not a game journalist. None of us at Adamant Ditto are. We don't get games sent to us to review by Sega. Our fans don't send us games like they do the Angry Video Game Nerd or Continue. I'm limited to reviewing what I own and what I can afford. All of the games I reviewed are games I already owned, and the ones I didn't own I felt were important enough to buy and review. Yes, I bought games like Sonic 06 and Secret Rings, specifically for this project, but I felt they were big enough games to do that. Some of the smaller, insignificant games I reviewed, like Riders, Battle, and Sega Superstar Tennis, I only reviewed because I already had them and figured, why not? I don't have the best paying job and I have other expenses to pay, so when I do buy a video game, it sure as hell isn't going to be a Kinect and Sonic Free Riders. It's going to be something I actually want to play, like Infamous 2. Yeah! So yeah, I'm sorry I didn't review every game you wanted me to, but it's just really not an option, and most of the games I left out aren't that significant in the series anyway. So, sorry, go download Sonic Jump on your own if you want to know what it's like.
Number 3.
It's not Sega that rushed Sonic 06, the fans did.
Oh boy, I hate this one. Mostly because I don't feel I'm wrong, but let's do this anyway. In my Sonic 06 review, I mentioned that Sega rushed production of the game to get it out by Christmas. Well, as hundreds of comments and arguments on that video would suggest, there are a number of other theories as to why Sonic 06 was rushed, and why it sucks so much. Some people claim the fans demanded it to be out that year and Sega listened. Others say Microsoft rushed the game. Look, I don't know which is true or which is not, but I do know one thing. Sega is to blame regardless. It's their game. I think JonTron said it best when talking about Star Fox Adventures.
You say no. No, like you're talking to a dog and just peed on your rug. No. Artistic integrity is important. In fact, it might just be omni-important, okay? I just put omni in front of that shit. That's how important it is.
If it was the fans' fault, Sega didn't have to listen. The fans would have bought it even if it came out a year later. If it was Microsoft's fault, Sega could have argued with them. And if that was the case, why didn't they spend more time on the PS3 version of the game? The game is unfinished and nobody is to blame but Sega. Not the fans, not Microsoft, not Sony, just Sega. They could have put the time in it to make it a better game. They could have delayed it, but for whatever reason, they decided against it, and now they have to live with their shame of releasing one of the worst games of all time. I hope they're proud of themselves. But there's no proof saying otherwise, so fine, I was sort of wrong, maybe, probably not. The fans rushed the game. There you go. There's no proof of that one either. I haven't seen an article saying that that's the truth, but whatever. You guys say it is, so who might argue? Let's not talk about Sonic 06 anymore. It gives me a headache.
Number 2.
Dude, what is wrong with your audio quality?
Well, this was a long time coming. Through the year and a half I did this thing, a lot of people have noticed my constantly changing audio situations, so it's time to address it. When I first started, I had a really crappy microphone. Like, terrible. It had no pop filter, there was static and noise, it was terrible. Eventually I tried using other microphones I had, like the integrated mic on my laptop and my Rock Band USB mic, but those also sucked, for different reasons. Eventually I did get a better mic, and I myself started to sound better. But this was right around the time I started to review the 3D games and had to start using my capture card more and more. This made the game audio sound terrible. My capture card is a piece of crap. I mean, it gets the job done, but the audio is super distorted unless you're given the option to turn the audio down in the game itself, which many of the Sonic games don't have the option for. So, a lot of the audio in my reviews sounds super distorted because of this reason, if you can even hear it at all. I'm aware I also tend to turn it too low for no good reason. So, yes, I'm sorry for all the terrible audio problems I've had over the course of this thing. My capture card sucks, my mic sucked. I plan to eventually get better versions of both things when I can afford them, so that in any future videos, be it reviews or Let's Plays, they don't suck. Sorry you had to sit through all that.
Number 1.
You can get out of the ditch in Sonic Advance 3. Here it is, the entire reason I did this thing, just to clear up this one mistake that has bugged me since the review went up. As you likely know by now, in my Sonic Advance 3 review, there's a part where I get stuck in a ditch, and the only way out is by using this spinning lever thing. Well, in my playthrough, Tails, my partner, grabbed the lever and wouldn't let go. Because he was on there, I couldn't grab onto it either, and I couldn't get out of the pit. I had to start the game over just to even pass the stage. Well, this is false. There is a way to get Tails off the lever. If you press the R button, it calls your partner into your hands and you can do whatever you want with them. This is an incredibly simple solution to an incredibly dumb mistake. I have felt like an idiot ever since because I knew that too. I've played and beaten Sonic Advance 3 before. I think it's a great game. Yet somehow, because I needed something negative to say to look like I wasn't just outright praising the game, I didn't even bother to try all my options. In order to love something, you have to be able to accept its flaws, so I do try to point out flaws in my reviews. It's only fair. But in this case, the flaw was me, not the game. But I blamed the game. I've felt stupid for it ever since, and I consider it my worst review because of it. Many people have pointed it out, and I'm sure many will continue to do so, and you know what? I deserve it. It was a dumb mistake, and I hope to never make one like it again. So, there you have it. Those are my top 10 Sonic review mistakes. They're the 10 I remember anyway. I'm sure I've made more, but whatever. I needed to clear those things up. Like I said in my last review, I might do some more lists, but I haven't completely decided yet. Until I do, though, enjoy the rest of our videos, and thanks for watching this one.
Matt, Christopher Walken, can't believe you didn't know Sonic Rush's soundtrack was indeed by Hideki Naganuma.